Hi Gilda's Club, back again for another week of fiber arts at home. This week we're going to do something a little bit more creative and fun. I know we've been on the practical side since we started doing these online digital classes. This week we're going to have a chance for a little creativity and maybe just a little bit of destruction. So I think you're going to like this project. We are making a macrame like vegetable or fruit tote that you might take to the market or even just use to store fruits and vegetables or give as gifts. Yeah, I think you're gonna like it. It's really cool. So, what you're going to need today is an old t-shirt that you don't mind chopping up, a pair of scissors, you're going to need a safety pin or some other way of getting something through a drawstring. You're going to need a ruler of some kind. This is not required, but it is helpful. And I like something to mark. It can be as simple as a ballpoint pen. Now, you can use basically any size shirt. It will affect the size of your bag, but because it's going to be open weave, it shouldn't be too big an effect. In other words, you can kind of cheat a little bit, even if you have a very small shirt, and make the weave of that bag even more open. So first step is cutting off the excess. Now, I reuse all sorts of materials in my projects, so I'm going to save this part. And I think for the majority of the bag, I'm going to use the back. So I get to save this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off my sleeves here. Next, I'm going to open up these sides here. I'm going to go right along the seam. Careful to only cut the part that you want to cut. Like you can see I've got material under here. Be careful to only go through one layer. You don't want to slice things up. So I've got my side seams all opened up. Lastly, I'm going to take off my neck hole area and this extra seam up here. So now I've cleaned up this t-shirt, I've got my scraps over here, and I've got this lovely big piece of fabric. What I'm going to do now, so I'm going to save this seam at the bottom here, the hem of the shirt, and that is going to be my drawstring. I don't have to do anything to it. That is already sewn for me. That's one of the beautiful things about upcycling, is using the natural attributes of the garment or piece of fabric that you are trying to recycle. And this is definitely handy. This saves me time because I already have this wonderful little seam here. Now, in making my ooh, I got a little bit of sleeve there, but that's okay. In making my material to work with macrame, you know, you use string. I'm going to turn this into string of sorts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be slicing up this direction. Just like that. Slicing up until a little bit before I hit my little seam there. If you are not good at eyeballing it, this is the time to use your ruler. I would say about, probably about a ½ inch to a 3/4 of an inch strip of material. So if it's helpful to you, you can mark it with your pen. It's not going to be a huge deal if your material is a little bit uneven, but I know I just find it helpful to have some sort of guide. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but I'm just putting my ruler down and marking every ½ inch or so. Just for a little visual of where I'm supposed to be slicing. So whether you can see very well, I'm not sure, but I've got everything marked, so I've kind of got a little guide. Like I said, don't have to worry too much if they're super straight. You're just giving yourself a little help. And see, I'm going right up here to my nice finished edge. This part is a little time consuming, but every once in a while it's fun to slice things up anyway. So enjoy it. So, now that you're done with that part, this is where the real fun begins. There's a little bit of magic that's about to happen. You're going to make string out of these lovely little strips you just cut. Grab a handful and just sort of pull. Look at how that turns into lovely, beautiful little bits of cord. Yeah, and just go along the whole length of your strips and just give them a little tug. If you have more fun doing it one at a time, go for it. It really is like magic. This is a fun project to do with kids. Look at that. Now that you've got this all pulled out and you've got your beautiful string ready to go, the first step in actually making your macrame will be tying every 2 cords together. This makes a really good foundation and keeps your bag strong. And take the next 2. Just do a little standard knot like that, like you're tying your shoe. I'm going to actually start doubling those. That'll stretch. Go to your next 2. Do it again. And just work your way all the way across. If you get to the end and you have an extra, as in one that is an odd number out, one that doesn't have a partner, just go ahead and cut that off, because we want to work with an even number. Alright, so I've worked all the way across, tying my knots, and I've got a perfect even number of strands. So at this point, it's very satisfying to look at. You've got these beautiful strands coming down. You've got this nice tidy edge up here. And what I found as I was tying was that a little weight to keep this in place is actually really helpful. So maybe you want to work on your couch. So maybe you pin it with straight pins to your couch. Maybe you want to use like bulldog clips or anything to kind of keep it clipped up. You could even clip it to a line in front of you using like clothespins. But whatever you do, I think it's more comfortable to work with this weighted down or pinned down or just kept even for you. Now we're going to get to the really awesome part of macrame, the knotting part that is going to make your beautiful shapes and styles. I started one over here. We're going to be using the square knot just to make sure I could do it. Because I always figure that's important when you're teaching things. But I'm going to show you the next set in. You start out on the edge with the first 2. So imagine these are my first 2. So to do a square knot, you're going to take your 2 interior pieces of string. You're going to keep them together. Then you're going to take your left put it on top. You're going to take your right, put it underneath. I don't know how well you can see this, but right now I've caught the center ones here. And there we go. Now you're going to do the same thing again. This is going on top, catching it here in that loop. This is going on the bottom. And there we go. A nice, beautiful square knot. For another go at that knot, got the 2 in the center. Actually, I'm going to clear all this away so this is all you can see. Alright, 2 in the center. Left one on top, right one below. Go ahead, pull that up. And this time, put your left one below, your right one on top. You get that beautiful, simple square there. One more time. Two in the center. Left one on top. Right one on the bottom. Pull that tight. Left one on the bottom, right one on the top, and through that loop over there. Beautiful, simple knot. And keep working your way across. So, now that I've worked my way all the way across, we're actually going to start kind of making that woven feeling that macrame often does have. So you are going to be separating your recent knots into 2 sets of 2. Right? Because we're going to be going crisscross now. So I'll show you what I mean here. So you're going to take your 2 rightmost strings, toss them aside. We're not focusing on them right now. You're going to do the same thing you just did up here, but now these are going to be your center strands. And this is going to be your square knot. Same thing over here. Separate 2 strands out. We're going to be connecting these. These are my center strands, and if you need to get these out of the way, just toss them. These are my center strands, oops, there we go. Try and get that at about the same height as the one you just did. See how that's starting to look now? I'm making connections here. Next one. 2 strands out of the knot I was working with up here, 2 center strands, left on top, right under, making that connection there, left under, right on top, beautiful. So now that you've worked your way down row 2, I hope you're starting to see the pattern emerge. When this is all pulled taut, you'll start getting this beautiful flowery kind of design here. Now let's go ahead and do row 3. Once you've done these 3 rows, you should be pretty good doing this independently because it's just more and more of the same. So once again, we're separating that knot we just tied, and we're tying more knots. So center, left on top, right below, pull that once, make sure those center strands are nice and straight, left below, right on top, there you go. Work your way across doing that same thing. You're just weaving everything together, making kind of this netted pattern. And the more even you get this, I think the more you're going to like it. So you can see I'm working my way down here. I've done a couple of rows, but at this point you just keep on, keep going. So I've done my rows and rows and rows and rows of knots. I'm very happy with how that looks. We got this pretty lattice work, almost floral appearance in my knots. Then I've got all this excess down here. I want to leave some excess so that I can tie the bottom to close it. But first let me show you what I've done. You're going to need a piece of your shirt. I did it about 1 inch wide. You can also use any kind of string. And then I cut the edge off of my leftover scrap shirt. You're going to want it to be as long as you would like your drawstring to be. So mine is about 2 feet. Next, I'm going to take this off of the board that I've been working on. And I'm going to use this nice long piece of string that I have to make my bag circular now. So, inside facing you, I'm gonna go ahead, use my corner strings here, tie a knot, double that like that, and then you see all of these little edges here. Going to thread my long, thicker strand of string through here. I'm going to tie it off really nicely. You can trim this when you're done for a nice neat appearance. And then I'm just going to crisscross back and forth in these corner sections here. Come on. See, I'm closing up that gap nicely. Then go ahead, pull that in a nice tight little knot. I'd do it again. And I always, when I'm working with a loose end, I like to kind of weave it back. You can see that I've got this. I'm going to try and hide that in there. Now that's tucked in my stitching. Next, I'm going to line up all of my fringes so that there's one on top of the other. Then I'm going to tie one at a time, double knots, from each tassel. So each tassel is going to get 4 knots, right? Because you've got 4 strands. So your last steps are, once you've got this all sewn up here by tying those knots, you're going to trim this so they're all about the same length. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it'll tidy up your project. I've got kind of a little angle there, kind of like that. And then take your last piece that you cut to be the drawstring, put that safety pin on it, then you're going to hop right inside that seam we saved to make your drawstring. Come on, open up. There we go. See, my safety pin's in there. Now, I just kind of work it through. You see, I build up, forcing the head of that safety pin through, pull that. Just keep loading it on there. And you can do this with anything that needs a drawstring. They make specialized tools, but most of the time, a safety pin will be plenty for you. It's simple, and most people can find that in their houses. So pull that through evenly. Come on, pin. Take that off there. Then just go ahead, put a little knot in it. Trim off your ends so it's nice and neat. You've just made a very attractive little market bag for keeping fruits, vegetables, I could even see you using this as something you could gift wine in or anything. It's a kind of sophisticated looking thing that's just made out of an old t-shirt. Recycling and making something pretty too. So I hope that was a fun little respite in however your lives have been going indoors, or maybe you're more busy than you were before. Maybe you just needed a little break from all that's going on. So I hope I provided this for you today, and I hope that you get to go to the public market and put this bag to use when you feel safe and comfortable to do so.